In this video, I'm gonna modify the fuel assembly for the G35 coupe. I have an aftermarket fuel pump that's gonna go in, but first I'm gonna show you how to take it apart and modify it for the new fuel pump. First, you wanna disconnect the wires. You start by down here. Be gentle. It's on a little tab though, so you should be able to pull it out. Then you want to unclip here. First I'm going to try with my hand. If not, I might need a flat hand. But you push in that little clip and it should come right up. I will need 2 hands to take out that clip from the fuel pump. You can use a flathead, but I'm pushing it in with my finger. You remove more. There's a ground cable right here. And there's another white one right here. We're just tugging it very gentle. Move the wiring off to the side for now. Now that we got the wires off, we're gonna put a little tab right here that's underneath the spring. And the whole assembly splits apart. Remember to keep everything together. We're just gonna put back the springs, make sure we don't lose anything. We can get this out the way. We're done with this part for the moment. Put that back in the box. From here, you should be able to pull on these little clips. Be gentle, of course. It's made out of plastic. You could use a flathead, but these clips aren't that tight, so I'm just taking it off with my finger. Now we just have to remove these clips on the bottom. You could use a little flathead, or you could pry it off maybe. But remember, be gentle, because it is still plastic and very old. It'll be easier with 2 hands, of course, but you know. So you guys should have an easier time than me. this piece out, the fuel pump should easily slide out. This one was ready to come out. You're gonna need to transfer this boot to the new fuel pump unless you bought one. If you could get up underneath it, maybe with a little flathead or something. Whoa. Keep track of your pieces. Put that in the cup with the other stuff. This two for now. If you are replacing your factory fuel pump with another factory fuel pump, all you would have to do here is just, plug it back in, reconnect the wire, put the clip back on, do everything in reverse, and you'll be good to go. Plug it back in your car. But if you're going to do an aftermarket fuel pump like I am, we're going to have to do a few more modifications to the assembly. We will need to take off this valve from the bottom of the assembly, and we will have to drill out as a little nozzle on it. It's on the side. But first we have to get underneath a lip. It has a grommet inside, and you have to be careful because these pieces, if you damage it, you can't buy it by itself. You have to get a whole new fuel pump assembly for that little piece. But you gotta try to get up underneath the lip a little bit. Might need a second flathead so I could, push two. But again, be very gentle, be very careful.
Buenos días. No está tan caliente. Aunque el sol pica, pero hay una brisita que ayuda.
This is what you were fighting against. Take out is that little lip. It was grabbed in there. The O-ring not so much, but I'm glad I didn't break it. But see, I scratched it a lot trying to do it. But eventually what I did was I took something flat. It'll help if you have the little screwdrivers. And wedged it in between. You have to take off these clips here. It's plastic. Be very gentle. You're gonna want to get up underneath this lip and pry a little bit. It should come off. It's 2 O-rings. And then go to the other side and repeat. It came out. We have to drill that hole just a little bit. It'll help with idle tuning after you get a tune, and it'll help overall idling less rough. Unless you're doing a fuel return system, then you don't have to do this because you're going to come with a new fuel pressure regulator anyway. But if you're just going to add in an aftermarket fuel pump and leave it on the factory return system like I am for now, I'm going to have to drill out this. You would want to drill out this hole a little bit bigger. If you have a 255 LPH fuel pump, they say about drill it to a 0.07, or if you have something a little bit bigger, you could use a drill bit that's going to be closer to 0.1. I'm going to use a 3/32 drill, which I believe it comes out to 0.906, I believe. But either way, you're going to want to drill just enough to get through the hole into where you can see the drill bit just barely enters in here inside of the bottom. You're going to want to be very careful with this because they do not sell this part by itself. So if you drill too far or you damage it, you have to go buy an entire another fuel pump assembly. They don't sell it individual. Always want to go slow, take your time. That's it. I'm through the hole. Let me see if I can get you a better view. You can see how the drill bit is just barely inside. That's all you need to do for this piece. After here, you can just plug it right back into the cup and move on to the other part that needs to be drilled. But it's just so you can have a visual. See what I mean by don't go through all the way, because you will damage this plastic piece. Next part, now we have to drill out the tip right here, but we just have to go deep enough to cut the sheet metal, so be careful again not to go too deep. Recommended here, they say to use a 7/64 drill bit. That I believe that comes out to a .109. I don't have that. The closest I have is a 1/8, which is a .125. So I'm going to drill it with the 1/8, and I guess I won't go in too deep so I don't make the hole too big. But again, remember, it's just enough to get the top layer. We have to cut through that sheet metal. And here we go. Remember, take your time, be careful. We only have to go through the tip of the sheet metal. Inspect it as you're drilling to make sure you're not going too far. We only want to drill through the top hole. Still going. We got a little bit more to go, but it's getting better. I made the hole. Now I'm just gonna keep going to try to smoothen it out just a little bit. You can see the new hole. All right, but here's the new hole. You see how much more bigger it was than it was previously? You're gonna wanna hit this with an air compressor to make sure there's no shaved metals in there. And just look again, you see the new hole on this one? It's a lot bigger than what it was. And again, remember, be very careful. Take your time. There's no rush. You just want to make sure it gets done properly. Now, these two parts, you could just plug it right back into your fuel pump assembly after you cleaned out the air. And you could just plug them back in. If you were to do a return system, you wouldn't have to do this because it comes with its own fuel pressure regulator, so it won't use this one. This is the AEM 340 liter fuel pump. Comes with everything you need. Got a rubber sleeve. I already transferred the boot from the old fuel pump onto the new fuel pump. I was looking at something and I kind of realized that the fuel pump and the factory fuel pump have identical connectors. This one's a little bit bigger, but the plug is exactly the same. I mean, they look the same to me. They both clip in to both the new fuel pump and the factory fuel pump. The wires are the same exact gauge when I put them next to each other, so it's not the factory size. It doesn't make sense to me to change it if I'm not going to change the whole wiring to the fuel pump, but I'll keep it just in case I need it. Then I'll put on the filter, since we're here. We're gonna put this little retainer ring to hold it in place. Here, I'm gonna clean just a little bit of the inside of the fuel pump before putting it together. It's kind of dirty, and on the top a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want to clean up around the connectors. Some rubbing alcohol to get inside the little crevices. I mean, look at the Q-tip. It's looking a lot better now. I'm about to do a little bit in here. It's not perfect, but a lot better than what it was. I know it's gonna get dirty again, but at least for peace of mind, I know I cleaned it. Now we'll get to the actual sliding in the fuel pump. You want to go until you hear it click into place. Now we're going to connect the wire. Make sure you hold the bottom so you don't push it through. We're going to install this little piece when we drill the hole into the bucket. The fuel pressure regulator. I have to put a little bit of force on it. I had to use both hands to finish pushing it all the way through. Make sure we keep the wire out of the way when we're putting it in. You're gonna have to put this long piece through this brake spring over here, and the stick is gonna go inside the hole. And it just clips in. You push it in slowly. Now let's hook up the wires. Connect the white one up here and the black one down here. I'm gonna need 2 hands for this. Make sure that they're nice and snug. And with this, it's gonna come around the side. Make sure it doesn't get in the way. Put it underneath. So that way the cable doesn't get tangled up in here and this could work properly. It could get tangled with the fuel sensor. Then we could tuck the wires back underneath these clips. And you want to know, like, pull on this a little bit, make sure we have all the wire nice and organized. That's how you modify the fuel pump assembly for the G35 or the 350Z. If you like this video, please, as always, like, subscribe, share with somebody else that might need this video.